trying to figure out which one I was going to give you. So I'm going to do the creek. I had a dream 2 weeks ago on a Saturday night that I was sitting on a couch in a house that I didn't know. I was couched in God.
You're cutting out real bad. Is that just me?
No, it's me too.
It's been doing it ever since. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I'll try to hurry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, I'm sitting on a couch. The couch really don't have a lot of color to it, so that's I don't think that means anything. But I'm looking over my right shoulder, and there's like a porch, and I see a creek. And this creek is absolutely gorgeous. It's a really wide creek with a lot of rounded rocks up as I'm looking to my right. So I can't see behind me. And in real life, I was going to get up and go to church, and I got up late. But in the dream, I also did the same thing. But I was like, what time is it? And I hear my husband in the kitchen, and he steps out and says, it's 1 o'clock. And I'm like, what? I thought it was like 9 o'clock. And so I see my daughter. She's getting ready for church in a bedroom to the right of me. And I said, well, it's too late to go. What are you going to do? And she said, I'm going to the Y. So anyway, I go outside, and I'm standing at this creek, and I see this little boy, and he's fixing to dive in. And I'm like, no, because I think it's not deep enough. I'm afraid he's going to get hurt. And he dives in, perfectly fine, comes up, and I'm like, oh, okay. You're good. And he sort of smiles at me, and I look down at my feet, and I have a pair of white Keds on, and that's something I would never wear because they're narrow and my feet are wide. But anyway, I look down, and I think I need to jump over this little area that sort of, it just goes around. It's just a small little area of the creek, even though the creek's really wide. But I look down, and I'm like, I think I can make it. And I do. I jump, and I'm like, okay, I made it. And the thing about the dream is I was so excited in this dream about this creek. I absolutely was. It was just enthralling to me. I just loved it. And so I wake up, and I ask God, please let me dream about the creek again. This is in real life. And he does. Like 2 nights later, I have a very short dream. I'm sitting at the head of this same creek. However, there's just a bank behind me. So, and in the other dream, it would have been to the right of me where I wasn't looking. But I'm sitting at the head of this creek in a chair, and I'm looking at it. And when I see it, I'm just jumping up and down for joy. I'm like, oh, there's my creek. There's my creek. I'm so happy that I'm sitting in the chair, and I look to my right, and there's a yellow washing machine. And God has used the color yellow for me and a couch in previous dreams where I met Jesus and God, but that's a really long dream. So that's it.
Wow. Sounds like a special forces orienteering run.
Yeah, exactly. But we don't use white Keds. They get too dirty, and they're not really good on the ankles. No, just kidding.
Yeah. It's just not a shoe that I would normally wear, but I had them on.
Interesting. You every way you look is to the right. You never look left throughout the whole dream. And creek. This is the second creek we've had tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So you're sitting on a couch in a house that's not yours. You don't recognize the house. Yeah. Okay. You're in
never been in it.
You're not in the place that you normally live. This is a different place, a different, unfamiliar.
Yeah, unfamiliar. Except at the same time, my youngest daughter was getting ready in a bedroom to my right. And a long time ago, when my oldest daughter, the house was set up the same way, and that was her bedroom. But in this dream, it was my youngest daughter, who's 19, and she was fixing her hair.
So,
and I could see her from where I was sitting.
Your husband's in the house too, right?
My husband, yeah, he was in the kitchen. And my
kitchen.
cat, one of my cats was laying in my lap too, but
I heard it. It came out of the room and it's been purring over there.
Oh, there's several of them purring, and they're not supposed to be in this part of the house, but I let them in so everybody be quiet.
Okay, so your daughter's preparing for church, but she's not going to church because it's too late.
Yeah, because it's too late.
She's going to the YMCA, which is a pseudo-Christian organization that's kind of pseudo-church-ish. So it's kind of like you get credit for going to church, but not really. Okay. So you're going. You look out over your right shoulder, out the window, and you see this gorgeous creek. Where do you live, by the way?
North Carolina, foothills.
I was thinking the Round Rocks.
I will tell you right after that. I don't know if you've ever heard of Moravian Falls.
Sure have.
But God led me to look it up through. I was watching a prophet that I don't normally watch, but I had heard of him and I watched it, and they were talking about Moravian Falls, and I heard other people talk about Prayer Mountain, and I was like, oh, that's in North Carolina, and it's like an hour and a half from me, so I do have plans to go. But this is like 2 days after my second dream. I looked it up, and I literally, the first picture was like, I said, oh my Lord, that's my creek. That's the creek I thought I was dreaming about. I'll start crying.
So now you've put a location.
So a couple days later, I think so. And I couldn't find that exact picture again after I looked for it. I found tons of other stuff, but that picture wasn't there when I tried to show my daughter. And I looked and could not find that exact picture.
I don't think you need to find it. You know where to go.
Yeah.
You don't need to see it again. God's already shown you where you're going. It'd be nice to find it again, but you know exactly where you got to go now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. So there's a boy that's next to the river that is about to dive in, but you think you're kind of concerned for his safety that it's not gonna work because it's too shallow or whatever. But he dives in anyway, and he's perfectly fine. And he smiles up at you. Is that right? Kind of like,
yeah, he smiles.
Aren't you proud of me? And you want to jump over the creek, and you actually do.
It's just this at the end of the house. There's this little. It goes around, so the creek's still really wide, but this one area that I'm gonna jump over it. Take a leap.
Take a leap of faith, and go to Moravian Falls. Sorry, that's about all I got, John. But there's a lot more in this, I can tell.
Yeah,
it's really good. I really I like the dream. I'm having a sound issue. Continue, Neil.
Oh, that's okay. I don't know my end, is it? Who knows around here?
It's
a lot of animals, but I'm hearing children.
No, it's not you this time. It's him. He's got Wi-Fi issues every once in a while. So, let's see. So this is a generational thing too, because your daughter's there and your husband's there. The kitchen kind of represents a place of preparation. So he's preparing something for you and the daughter, your daughter and the family. Possibly it's to either take a trip or to move. Maybe, I don't know. I'm thinking it's more temporary. But this house that you're in is the temporary house that you've either visited, or I think you're going to visit this house or something like this house on the creek or in Moravian Falls. I think there's
and yeah, they do have cabins, and I was looking to see if I could, because I know I could see the outside of the house looked like an older home that was weathered.
Get one with a nice metal roof so you can hear the angels falling.
They actually have a cabin called something angels. That has something to do with angels. They have a cabin.
I've been out there.
If John comes back, we'll have him tell you the story about he stayed there.
But Wow. Well, I think you're supposed to go to the creek and go to the falls. So
Yeah.
sounds good. Let us check
Yeah.
back in with us when you get back and let us know how it goes. There's some beautiful
What do
things.
you think about the yellow washing machine, which God has used yellow in a dream before with me?
I feel like
And
I
it is
feel
a
like
washing machine. So
there's a spirit of fear that God wants to rinse off of you. That's what I'm hearing. The idea of a spirit of fear.
pray
Spirit
what
being.
happened.
Could you hear him? Gina, can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you, Neil.
He's saying that the
I can
color
hear you,
yellow
yes.
is
Okay.
the color yellow is God's telling you that he's got a spirit of fear that he needs to wash off of you. Does that resonate?
If there's anything that you're afraid of or
Um,
anything that you're worried about, including your kids or your grandkids, I feel like this is part of it. Just like at the beginning at the creek, when your grandson was going to jump in the water and you weren't sure if he was going to get hurt or not. It's that idea. It's not really fear. It's more the idea of worry. That kind of a thing. And I feel
yeah,
like
Go ahead,
I've
Jen.
been asking God to tell me what my purpose is right now, because the young boy I didn't know. I was a youth director, pastor, director for 10 years in the past, and I loved it. It was like best time of my life. And I don't know. I asked him constantly to just, and that's how I got that position. Was he gave me a dream and said, "Yep, take that," because he answers answers me a lot in dreams and tells me things. But he said in that dream to take the position that they had offered to me, and it was a teaching, and I was on the youth board, but I ended up being the youth director for over 10 years. And yeah, I'm not at that church. I was there for 15 years, so.
well, stay tuned. I feel like God has more. And so just continue to write your dreams down. And I feel like there's more coming on this. So,
Especially when
yeah.
you get to Moravian Falls.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jesus and God both came to me, and I know you've got to go, but briefly in a dream, and Jesus answered a question, because I was raised Pentecostal holiness, been in church all my life. So when I hear people say when they got saved, I would always like, I don't know, then been the altar every week for all my life. Felt like I've always known Jesus, but he did come to me and say, he said, he put his nose on my nose and said, "Do you smoke?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, when I first met you, you smoked." That was a long time ago. And then God gave me a lot of directions, told me to name some items and write some things down, and some things were already written down, and he sent me to Jeremiah.
So much more he wants to share with you. So stay tuned and continue to write your dreams down, because I think he's got more on this. But thank you for sharing your dream with us, Gina.
Yeah, thanks, Gina.
Thank y'all.